Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Dr. J.J. Levine. I'm the president of Essante Organics. Today's going to be a quick 10-minute call, and it's really geared for medical professionals in this day and time. Obviously, right now, we've got some things going on with the pandemic, and we are blessed to have as our chief formulator and on the call with us is the world's leading immunoenzymologist, Ron Schneider, who was a Nobel Prize finalist, who's worked with the best of the best people. He's worked in South Africa with Nelson Mandela with the HIV outbreak, and honestly, the worst of the worst cases, people who in some cases were terminal have contacted this gentleman for his expertise in the world of immunoenzymology. So with that, and only having 10 minutes really to make a succinct call for medical professionals, Ron, I'd love for you to discuss specifically our super sprout sterols, as well as the enzymes, backed by the research and all the knowledge that you have, and why it's so important. More now than ever, people should be consuming and recommending these products for their patients.
Well, thank you very much, JJ, and I will try to keep this as medically oriented as I can, because I'm so used to forfeiting the medical language and terminology in order for the average person to understand it. So the first thing I want everybody to understand, I have just been inundated for the last 3 weeks to where my head's just ready to explode. One thing is for sure, and any doctor that's going to hear this, I know they got to agree with this. No person has ever died unless they had a compromised immune system. If your immune system is fully active and functioning, it'll destroy anything and everything that it comes in contact with in the internal and even the external human body. Most of it's internal, though, because that's where your immune system cells function and circulate. So nobody's ever died from a disease or illness. They died because of a compromised immune system. That's fact number one. So what would compromise the human immune system? You have stress as an underlying contributing factor to most diseases and illnesses, chronic inflammation and stress. 2, a polluted environment, a toxic environment that you live in, different chemicals that get in the body, even the drugs that are administered by the medical community have side effects. So a lot of those will compromise and totally inhibit, like immunosuppressive drugs. They purposely inhibit and slow way down the activity of the human immune system, which puts you at risk of other diseases, illnesses, disorders, so on and so forth. But the simple fact is, nobody's ever died without having a compromised immune system. So rather than sit there and talk about all the things that we could do as far as drugs, illnesses, treatment of diseases, this and that, let's just back up. So realize one fact, every death is associated with a compromised immune system. And the biggest compromising factor of the immune system is threefold. 1, for every 10 years a person lives their life from birth to death, your body produces 8 to 10% less of the digestive enzymes it produced the last decade, the last 2 decades, the last 3 decades, depending on how long you live. For every 10 years, your body produces 8 to 10% less digestive enzymes. So by the time the average person hits the age of 38 to 42, that means you have a death, the day you'll die, somewhere between 75 and 78 years old. By the time you're 38 years old, your body is already producing less than 50% of the digestive enzymes you produced at age 10 to 15. Well, what would compromise an immune system if you didn't have the ability to produce enzymes to digest your daily meals? Muscle tissue, flesh. I've been raving and rampant about this for the last 30 years. This is nothing new. The information is just not getting out to the average person or the average medical community. Your body has been able to protect you from anything and everything it's ever been exposed to since caveman days. That's why we are still here as a species, thriving and growing on the planet Earth. It's the immune system. It's always been the immune system. That's why I became an immunoenzymologist. Study all the enzymes that run and regulate the human immune system cell functioning. And what will compromise your immune system the absolute most by the time you hit the age of 35 is continue to support your daily diet from muscle tissue, flesh, chicken, beef, turkey, pork, so on and so forth. Muscle tissue is the hardest thing for the human body to digest. It takes all the calories in the food source to be used up just trying to digest the tissue through the body, and then you have to go to stored body fat, and you can get more calories to finish off the digestion, breakdown, absorption, elimination of the food source. That's why the keto diet is so successful at making people lose body fat rather than muscle tissue. So there's the underlying proof for all of that for anybody that wants to question that. The keto diet is very effective at losing weight. The problem is it creates a very acidic body because acid has to be produced and released and secreted in order to activate protease enzymes for the digestive process. So aside from that, I don't want to get into a lecture. Let's stick with the specifics. So now we've got a compromised immune system as the underlying cause of all deaths worldwide for any disease or illness. You didn't die from cancer, you died from a compromised immune system. T lymphocytes were inhibited from being functional to destroy the cancer cells that are developing or actually being created in the human body every single day any of us lives our lives. So understand this simple fact, because it's not about the coronavirus. This is just another virus in a long list of viruses, and there'll be more. They're always evolving and producing new strains. But one thing is for sure, look at all the people that have survived the corona epidemic. Over 78% of all people, the million people that actually got it, over 78% of people have totally gotten cured by their own antibodies. So if anybody is seriously looking at treating this pandemic, then we have to be dealing with the immune system. And we already know that the immune system has the ability to cure not only the coronavirus, it cured H1N1, H1N5, SARS, Ebola, Spanish flu. I can go back and on and on and on. Antibodies were used as the treatment to cure these diseases and illness because the vaccines were years away from being developed. Go back to the Ebola, back just 5-6 years ago, when Nurse Fan, the Vietnamese nurse, all over national television, ready to die. And then the quarantine doctor, the nurse that came from Sierra Leone, who lived in New York, she was quarantined. And then the male doctor, the white doctor, the second one that came back, he actually cured himself with the body's own immune system antibodies. And antibodies can be strained. They can be used as a treatment. All you have to do is find somebody that's actually been exposed, they cured themselves by their body's immune system producing antibodies, strain those antibodies and inject them in other people. The cure is already here. But what is it? It's not some pharmaceutical drug. And that's where the medical community is being led down severely down the wrong path. Drugs have never cured, prevented, or treated anything. That's why any doctor that makes a claim of curing or preventing with a drug or anything else usually go to jail. Because the fact is, there's no disease or illness that's ever been cured, prevented, or alleviated without having the immune system cell network and the cells of that system implemented and eliminating that disease or illness. The immune system is what prevents us every year and every day of our life, every moment of our life for that matter, from ever being sick. I haven't had a cold or flu since April 23rd, 1984. That's 30-some years if you stop the face. So why am I so special and different? I got crappy coronary disease genetics because I understand the immune system and I do things that totally support the immune system that most people in the entire medical community, most of them, don't know anything about, such as sterols, super sprouts. There's a certain nutrient inside of sprouts only. It's not found in plants. It's not found in the food source. It's only found in a single blade of grass called a sprout. And there's a book called written about this called The Immune System Cure by Dr. Patrick Buick and Lorna van der Hage, both of South Africa. And the person that actually was the professor to these people, his name was Professor Carl Pagel. He worked in the applied chemistry department. He was the head of the applied chemistry at the Natal Medical Center outside of Durban, South Africa. And I personally interviewed and worked with this gentleman on and off for over 4 years. And he is the discoverer of a glucoside. This is a pre-sugar molecule that activates 6 different enzymes within T lymphocyte functioning alone. Most of these enzymes are found in all immune systems, by the way, immune system cells, by the way. T lymphocytes, eosinophils, neutrophils, basophils, all of them. And these 6 enzymes regulate the overall functioning of the immune system cell itself and the proliferation factor, the ability to reproduce. And part of the regulatory mechanism is how large will that cell grow. The larger the cell membrane, the more nucleus material that it has to function with internally. And so these glucosides have been shown to actually increase the human immune system cells by as much as 5 to 6 times larger and have an increase of up to 400% more nucleus material within the cell membrane, like the cytokines, the bradykinin protein, so on and so forth, the phagocytes, the granulocytes. Medical people understand this terminology because it's basic microbiology. So these internal membrane material, that can actually be dramatically increased. And when you do that, you increase the cell 5-6 times bigger, you get up to 400% increased nuclei material, you can have our overall efficiency of cell functioning be elevated up to 759%. That is a cure and a prevention from any and all disease and illness. And I have said for 30 years with true, strong, educated commitment, don't stand in front of me and tell me you got a cure for anything unless you're telling me how it's going to influence one or more of the human immune system cells. And it better be to activate them, not to suppress them. Because the human immune system cell functioning is the only thing that destroys pathogens and things like that. Drugs don't do it. Immune system cells do. And like I said, in enzymes, now you've got the ability to create this massive increase in immune system capability, but it's just like Michael Phelps, and I'll use this analogy again, I use it all the time. You take this world-class Olympic swimmer, put him in the Nile River where there's 1,000 alligators waiting for him, and gee, you kind of scratch your head wondering, well, he jumped in, but he didn't make it very far. The bloodstream is no different. You've got these beautiful, wonderfully created immune system cells. They're more than capable. They're Hercules. They're ready to go. And all you do is put all the sticky, undigested, poorly digested, mucousy, sticky, clogged up, heavy byproducts from your meat flesh diet into the bloodstream. And all those immune system cells have little receptors that actually secrete enzymes and dissolve the things they come in contact with. And some of them are engulfing cells. But irregardless, there's enzymes that are involved in deteriorating anything in the human body other than antibodies. So we've got this beautiful immune system now, but we've got this polluted bloodstream. Well, you start taking good full-spectrum digestive enzymes that actually have high activity and minerals to activate those enzymes properly, then you can clean up the bloodstream. And between digestive enzymes, probiotics, and plant sterols, or more particularly the glucoside that's part of the sterol molecule, now you've got a perfect storm, and you can make yourself bulletproof from anything. And I know, because I spent 30 years of traveling all over the world, and I never once had an inoculation or a vaccine to enter a country or to actually go over on a mission or a job. My immune system. And I'm going to tell you, that is the answer for this epidemic that's playing itself all over the world on national television. Strengthen your immune system. The downside to that is enzymes start working immediately. You can clean up your blood in less than a day. You can actually see the color of your blood change. You can take your oxygen meter reader on your index finger oxygen tester. And you can literally go from an 89, 93, 94% oxygen percentage all the way up to 100%, just sitting in a chair in less than a half hour after 3 of these enzymes. I demonstrate it and do it all over the world all the time. So we can take care of the bloodstream cleanliness, which is going to help free up whatever immune system capability of functioning you have. But to make that big Hercules immune system, the downside is you have to be on this for a minimum of 6 and 9 months to achieve that full 5-6 times larger overall immune system cell network. And that's because of the absorption rate is very, very slow of these macromolecules called glucosides. And for that purpose and that reason, you want to start doing this and maintain a healthy immune system. Don't just throw away your enzymes and think, well, I feel great. There's one fundamental biochemical fact. Every 10 years you live your life from birth to death, your body produces less enzymes. At least 8 to 10% less enzymes every decade you live. So you can't just forget that simple little fact. That's a genetic fact. That's what I want to kind of end on that.
Thank you very much, Ron. Wow, that was absolutely phenomenal. And for all of the medical professionals and lay people that happen to come across this call, get back to the person who shared this information with you so they can help you take the next step. Ron Schneider, thank you again for all your expertise and intelligence. I appreciate you being here on this call today.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Bye-bye, everybody.